why would you transmit an analog signal versus a digital signal?
Well, it depends on your source device. Let's say, for example, you have a CD player. You really don't want to, using an inexpensive digital, a D to A, or an A to D in that case.
Sure.
You're not going to get the quality level that you do out of the analog outputs of a CD player or a high-end disc player.
Right.
Regardless of what kind it is.
Right.
So you want to stay in as close to the original audio format as possible. And particularly coming out of a high-end source, analog source, even a tuner, that's a much better choice than this is.
Right.
However, if all you have is a piece of coax, not a category cable, but a piece of coax, those are the better choice, because what you can do is, if you have a device that has an analog out and you only have a coax, you can take a to D converter that we sell, which will take an analog input and convert it to a digital coax, run it into that, and then send it down the pipe on category cable.
Close. So you're actually thinking of another device that we're talking about using, because this has to use a category wire to transmit. So you would use, in that case, let's say I had a coax cable, and that was the only connection I had from where the TV was back to the rack.
Right. We use the A to D and the D to D. To take it from analog to digital. And then digital optical out. Into digital coax out, and then back to whatever your receiving device is, typically the digital coax input
of a receiver
on an AVR or a matrix. As some of the matrices, I think Control 4 has digital input on.
Yeah, their Triad series actually has that as well, and I'm sure many others do as well. So
which makes it very convenient.
Yes, it does. Now, of course, then at that point, on the other end, if you had to then go into an analog connection instead, you would just do a D to A on the other side. So again, thinking of all these when you're laying out your system design, especially if you're coming in to a retrofit job, it's very important to understand, one, the cabling that you have with anything. If you're doing with audio, if you're dealing with video, if you're dealing with network connections, whatever it may be, surveillance, it's very, very, very important to know what cabling you have in place. Just know that, luckily, just about any kind of cabling you have in place, there is a solution for that.
And if you have any questions, call us.